Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review. Today I'm here to tell you all about the latest from Necrophobic, Dawn of the Damned, out October 9th on Century Media Records. The album has 10 tracks, 48 minutes in length, and this is the band's 9th full-length studio album. The album opens up with an instrumental track, an intro track, that it's called Aphelion, and it really meets two different criterias. It works perfectly as an introduction to the album because it sets the mood and the atmosphere for the rest of the record, and at the same time it bleeds into the second track of the album, Darkness Be My Guide, and the two of them together really become the calling card of what you can expect from this record as you move forward. The album, from a structural perspective, is very linear, very well balanced, very straightforward. There's just no deviations whatsoever. This is not an album that has peaks and valleys, that alternates styles or approaches. It's just very cohesive and very straightforward in its look and its feel and how it comes across from a structural perspective. The dynamic mechanisms are built into the sound of the album. Either be the guitars or the drums. Perhaps the drums are a little bit more straightforward, that they're not as varied as far as the approach is concerned, but definitely the guitars are the heartbeat, the soul, if you will, of this album. You get a little bit of everything. Such a diverse approach, such a diverse sound. They're melodic, they're driven, they're heavy, they're powerful, they're penetrating. All of these elements are true as if you try to define how the guitars and how the solos sound on this record. Sometimes they're all present in one song and you almost feel overpowered with everything that's coming at you from a guitar's perspective. Sometimes they're more varied and they're more spread out across all the tracks. But you can find these elements on every single song. The question is going to be how much of each element you're going to find on each track. But overall, the guitar work is definitely one of the beacons, and it's definitely the heartbeat of this album. It allows everything else to stay together, to stay linear in its approach, to stay balanced, and still have a record that doesn't feel repetitive at all, because the guitar sounds are always moving, they're always merging, they're always giving you a different look, a different feel, creating an overall different atmosphere for the tracks itself, morphing the songs into something else. So while they're all used across every single song, they're not used to the same extent and they're not used in the same way, allowing the record to have diversity of sound but not necessarily diversity of approach. The drums are very linear as well, similar to the structure, because they kind of become the spinal cord as far as sound is concerned for this record. Everything else are nerve endings that come off of that spinal cord. All the diversity that the guitars have, the approach with the vocals, everything is coming off of that. The drums really give some substance. They really give a good baseline, a good foundation for how this record sounds. And they only have two motions, heavy and heavier. It feels like they only have those two speeds, but it works really well with everything else because it allows the guitars to change the tempos, it allows the guitars to change the mood, it allows the guitars to change direction of the songs and still have the track feel together, feel as one and not broken. And then overall, when you look at the big picture of the album, you have the same feel across all 10 tracks. You don't have one song that's pulling in a completely different direction of everything else. Every single track is moving in one direction, and the drums really help with that, considering once again that you have the guitars trying to always divert where their direction is and try to push the tracks going into a different place. Overall, the vocals are also very straightforward. This is an album that really doesn't offer a lot of variation. There's maybe a song or two where you get a little bit of a change in the approach as far as vocals are concerned, but pretty much what you get in the first track is what you're going to get all the way to the last track. But they have the ability to be that last nail in the coffin. They're really they put the final stamp on the record. They have the perfect tone, they have the perfect delivery, the perfect level of darkness to really enhance the overall atmosphere that you get from the sound on the album, from the diversity that the guitars have. The vocals always seem to come in and be the ones pulling the strings and keeping that sound in play and keeping it concentrating on where it needs to be and not completely lose control of it and with all the volatility that it has. So I love the way the vocals come across on this album, the perfect outlet not only for the overall sound but also for the lyrics that they created for this album, really bringing some elements of those lyrics to life in the way they come across in the song, with the darkness that they deliver to the track itself. Overall, this is a very strong album, top to bottom. No weak songs, no fillers, if you will. This is a very well balanced, very well delivered record. What you get at the top is what you get at the bottom. You could invert the order, the track listing of this record. You could change it around. You're really not going to lose anything at all, because all songs are very equal within themselves as far as the quality that they deliver to the listener. As far as songs goes, I picked 3 songs that are my favorites for this record, and I want to start with Darkness Be My Guide. Heavy, fast, powerful, and melodic. This is the opening track, if you will. When you count Aphelion, which is the actual intro that bleeds into this song, the two of them really become the opening salvo for this record. It comes at you with relentless power and strength. The vocals have this overall demonic atmosphere sound to it, and really encapsulates the overall feel that this track has in place, and also when you look at the lyrics on this song. The song does never really lose any steam or any strength when it moves from the verses to the chorus. It has this very straightforward feel to it. It changes a little bit because it becomes a little bit more melodic from a guitarist perspective in the chorus, but the speed, the strength, the power that it has, it never varies, it never goes away. It's the same in the verses as it is in the chorus. The only change really is that more added melody from the guitars that come in and really give some extra power, some extra life to the way the chorus sounds. The solos on this track are outstanding, and that's something that's true throughout the record. I felt that they did a wonderful job understanding the dynamic of the song, the melody, the overall atmosphere of the track, and then creating solos that really enhanced either one of those elements or all of the elements above. And this track is a perfect example of that. Flawless construction, flawless delivery from top to bottom. Next, Dawn of the Damned, a more somber opening for this song, specifically coming from the guitars, and I loved it. They created their own intro built into the song. They didn't allow that intro to go to waste because they used some of that same melody and transitioned that melody into the track itself, which in my opinion is the perfect way to go, because it feels like there's a segue. It feels like that intro meant something and it was not just there as a placeholder. So you get some of that melody that moves into the track, but that melody gets almost absolutely surrounded by darkness, by power, by heaviness, which is what this song has in store for the listener. I love that aspect of it, because you feel that melody. It started off in such a great, bright way, and then you see that dissipating as the song progresses. It just starts to fade out of the track. Once again, another song with great solos, tons of melody in the solos. They just really accentuated some of the key elements that this track had in store, including that opening salvo, that opening incredible guitar melody. Not that the solos sound like that melody, but it took a little bit of the presence that melody had and then expanded into the guitar solos. I also love how this song closes off. It closes off with the same guitar melody that it opened up with. So it goes full circle, and it'll had it lingering it throughout the track. Perfect construction, perfect delivery. Last but not least, As the Fire Burns, a more black metal driven sounding bass song, more than the previous two. The previous two had a lot more of death metal elements into them as far as sound, as far as power, as far as aggression is concerned. This one, it has a little bit more black metal influence into how it's overall put together. But still, an onslaught of sound and power coming at you. The drums on this track are outstanding. Perhaps my favorite drums on this album are on this song, because you really can feel how much of power and strength they have, but also how much grounded they are. They really allow the song to breathe and to move into different directions because of how grounded and how well established the drums are on this song. The duality of sound that you get from the guitars is also important, because you're going to get a melodic side of them, but you're also going to get a dark and penetrated side. So the duality of those two elements is present throughout the whole track. It always seems to be coming at you in waves. It's moving in and out as the song is moving along. So I like that, because it adds a dynamic mechanism that's important for a song like this, to not to stay repetitive across all the different elements. Another side of this track that was interesting was the vocals. In most of the songs on this album, you're going to get pretty much the same approach from beginning to end. In this song, I felt the vocals were a lot more dynamic. They offer a little bit more of a range. They give me something else. They give me something different, which added to the atmosphere that the song has. It added to the overall dynamics of the track. When you mix that approach vocally with what the guitars are doing, you have now two elements that are really starting to break apart from that narrow path that the song is traveling on, that the drums are keeping it on. And I like that. It makes the song feel a little bit more like it's coming to life. I love the way it's put together, and I love how the vocals sound on this track. This is it. This is Necrophobic with Dawn of the Damned, out October 9th on Century Media Records. Let me know your thoughts on the band, on the singles. Use the comment section below. I'll be reading those and getting back to you. Take care, guys.